Hey everyone, it's Tony here. So something just came out of Washington that has millions of Americans asking the same question: what's happening to my retirement? President Trump just revealed a brand new plan inspired by Australia's retirement system. And honestly, it could change everything about how we save for the future. And here's the thing. This isn't replacing Social Security, but it's not exactly leaving it alone either. I spent hours reading through the actual proposals and policy reports, so you don't have to. And I'm breaking down exactly what this means for you, whether you're a working parent, a veteran, someone on disability, or just trying to figure out if you'll ever be able to retire. So stick with me, because what I'm about to share affects nearly every American. Okay, so here's how this all started, and it's actually kind of wild. A few days ago, Trump was at the White House celebrating a massive $6.25 billion donation from Michael Dell and his wife Susan. This money is going towards something called Trump Accounts for Kids, basically giving every American child born, starting in 2025, a $1,000 investment account that grows until they're 18. Pretty cool idea, right? But then, during that same speech, Trump said something that caught everyone off guard. He said the administration is looking very seriously at creating a similar system for working adults, something inspired by Australia's superannuation model. Now, if you've never heard of that, don't worry, most Americans haven't. But here's what you need to know. Australia requires every employer to put 12% of a worker's income into a retirement investment fund automatically. And this system has grown into one of the largest retirement pools in the world, over $4.3 trillion Australian dollars, which is almost $3 trillion US. And that's from a country with only 26 million people. When you hear Trump, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, and even BlackRock's Larry Fink calling it the gold standard, you know something big is being discussed. So what is Trump's team actually trying to accomplish here? According to what they've said publicly, the goal is to help Americans build personal wealth earlier and rely less on government programs over time. The Trump Accounts for Kids give children $1,000 to start, plus an extra $250 for 25 million middle and lower income kids, thanks to the Dell donation. Trump literally called these the first trust funds for every American child. And that philosophy, early investing leads to greater opportunity, is the link to this bigger adult retirement proposal. The idea is, kids start with investment accounts, working adults get something similar funded by employers, and over time, families build more wealth instead of depending solely on Social Security. But here's what nobody's saying out loud. This is also about the looming Social Security crisis. The trust fund is projected to be insolvent by 2033. After that, it can still pay benefits, just less, about 77% of what's promised. So when Trump brings up alternative systems, it's coming from this bigger urgency about long-term sustainability and the national debt. Let me be really clear about who this impacts, because I know a lot of you watching are trying to figure out if this helps you or hurts you. If you're already retired or close to retirement, the good news is Social Security isn't going anywhere right now. More than 70 million Americans rely on it, and it can't just disappear. Any changes would take decades to phase in, so if you're in your 60s or 70s, your benefits are protected. If you're a working parent in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, this is where it gets interesting. If a mandatory employer contribution system gets passed, like Australia's 12%, you could end up retiring with a significantly larger investment balance than you would have had otherwise. But you'd also be taking on more market risk. For moms, especially single moms working multiple jobs, the big question is whether your employers would even participate. Right now, not every job offers a 401k. If this becomes mandatory for all employers, that's huge. But if it's optional, you might still be left out. Veterans and people on disability, here's what worries me. This doesn't really address your situation. Social Security disability and veterans benefits work differently than retirement accounts. You need guaranteed income, not investment accounts that can go up and down. Young workers and people just starting their careers, you might actually benefit the most if this happens, because you'd have 30 or 40 years for that money to grow through the stock market. All right, let's break down what an Australian-style system would actually look like here, because the details matter. Change 1. Mandatory employer contributions. In Australia, every employer must contribute 12% of your income to a retirement fund. No opting out. Here in the U.S., retirement savings are mostly optional. Some employers offer a 401k and match. Others don't offer anything. If we adopted this system, every single employer would have to contribute. That's massive. Change 2. Your money, your account. Unlike Social Security, where your payroll taxes go to current retirees, this would be your money in an account with your name on it. You'd own it. You'd earn returns. You could choose how to invest it. But you couldn't touch it until retirement except in very narrow emergencies. Change 3. Market-based returns. This is where it gets risky. Your retirement would depend partly on stock market performance. Investment accounts can grow a lot over decades, but they can also drop during market crashes. Social Security doesn't do that. It's a guaranteed benefit. So this shifts more risk onto you. Change 4. Different philosophy. Social Security is pay as you go. You pay in, current retirees get paid, and later you get paid by future workers. It's collective protection. The Australian model is personal ownership. These are totally different philosophies about who should be responsible for retirement, the government or individuals. Now here's the reality check. Australia's system didn't happen overnight. It took decades of legislative battles and cultural change. For the U.S., with all our political gridlock, passing something this big would be incredibly difficult. Business groups would push back hard on mandatory contributions. Some politicians would say it's too much government involvement. Others would say it doesn't go far enough. Okay, deep breath. I know that's a lot to take in, but there's actually some genuinely positive stuff here. First, the Trump accounts for kids are officially happening. If you have children or grandchildren, they're getting that $1,000 investment account. That's real money that could grow into thousands of dollars by the time they're adults. Second, if any version of mandatory employer contributions passes, millions of Americans who currently have zero retirement savings would suddenly have something building for their future. That includes gig workers, part-time employees, and people working for small businesses that don't offer 401 kiloseconds. Third, Social Security isn't being replaced. Everything being discussed would be a supplement, not a replacement. You'd potentially have both the guaranteed Social Security benefit plus your personal investment account. Fourth, this conversation is forcing politicians to finally address retirement security head-on instead of avoiding it. Whether you agree with the approach or not, at least we're talking about solutions. So what should you actually do with this information? Here's my practical advice. If you're young or mid-career, don't wait for the government to figure this out. If your employer offers a 401k, contribute something, even if it's just $25 a month. The earlier you start, the more time your money has to grow. And if this Australian-style system ever passes, you'll already have good savings habits. If you're a parent, take advantage of the Trump accounts when they roll out. Make sure your kids are registered. That $1,000 or $1,250 with the Dell contribution could genuinely change their future. If you're approaching retirement, don't panic. Social Security is still the foundation of your retirement plan, and any major changes would take years, probably decades, to fully implement. Keep an eye on the news, but don't make drastic decisions based on proposals. For everyone, learn the basics of investing if you haven't already. If this system moves forward, we're all going to need to understand things like index funds, fees, and compound growth. Australia built a culture where people understand their super accounts. We'd need to do the same. And honestly, get involved. Contact your representatives and tell them what matters to you. Do you want Social Security strengthened? Do you want more personal investment options? Your voice matters in this conversation. Here's what I think is really happening beneath the surface. The financial world is shifting toward more personal savings and earlier investing, whether we like it or not. Pensions are disappearing. People are living longer. The cost of living keeps rising, and there's more pressure on individuals to save. Trump's proposal is basically asking, should retirement be a shared responsibility between workers, employers, and government? Or should it remain mostly government-backed? That's the philosophical question at the heart of all this. And the truth is, examining Australia's success is a way of asking whether the U.S. can reduce financial pressure on the government by shifting more responsibility to the private sector. It's not about whether Social Security is good or bad. It's about whether it's sustainable as the only option. Look, I know this is complicated, and I know a lot of you are probably feeling worried or overwhelmed right now. That's completely understandable. But here's what I want you to remember. You're not alone in this. Millions of Americans are trying to figure out the same things. And there are resources, communities, and people like me who are going to keep following the story and breaking it down in ways that actually make sense. If this video helped you understand what's happening, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'm going to keep tracking every development with Trump's retirement plans, Social Security, and any changes that affect working families. Check out my other videos on retirement planning and benefit programs that can help you right now. Drop a comment and let me know. Do you think the U.S. should move toward a system like Australia's, or should we strengthen Social Security instead? I read every single comment, and I genuinely want to hear your thoughts. We're going to get through this together. Stay informed, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.